first noticed you, I first became aware of you from an episode of The Atheist Experience that you did with Matt Dillahunty. And if anyone's interested in looking that up, that was actually episode 23.53 from December 22nd, 2019.
Oh man, you remember? I don't even remember.
I watched it earlier today just to kind of refresh my memory.
Okay.
But, I had the pleasure of speaking to Matt a couple times. He appeared on the old EA show, as did you. Mm-hmm. How do you know Matt? How did you hook up with him, and how did that interaction happen?
So Matt would frequently come on there along with Thunderfoot and Arn Raw. And so I met Arn, and, being a Black atheist military member, is sort of unique in this sphere. So they sort of remembered me, and I stayed around. And so Arn encouraged me to start my own channel. From there, I got hooked up with DPR Jones, Arn, and Matt. And so that's sort of where I got his Skype information. And we've just sort of kept in touch over years. And he would play Path of Exile and stuff like that. So he and I would just kind of casually chat. But other than that, we kind of lost contact for a while. And then what happened? There was an event, Free Float in Florida before COVID. And associate of mine, Nate Brody, said, hey, you go out there, say hi to Matt for me. And so Matt Dillahunty and Arn, with Nate's help, were working on different projects. And so that's how I kind of reconnected with them when I went to the conference. And so after he got a chance to meet me in real life after all these years, he's like, hey, why don't you come on AXP? And I was like, that might piss off a lot of people. He said, I don't care, it's my show. So that's how I got on AXP, essentially.
So basically you had the inside hookup, and you basically got a backdoor entrance straight onto the set of the show.
Oh, yeah. And then he just keeps calling me. He's like, yeah, let's come back. All right, that's fine.
Nice. What kind of stuff do you do in your lab? Because that was a little bit of a mouthful in your introduction. I was talking way over my head. So if anyone thought that I knew what I was talking about when I was talking about cellular biology and nano, I didn't. So you can maybe explain some of that for us.
Yeah, so people can normally get a bachelor's of science or bachelor's in arts in biology. Mine is a bachelor's of science in biology, but it has a specialization. So, for instance, the specialization in pre-med would focus a lot on physiology and anatomy and pathophysiology and all that sort of thing. My degree is a specialization in cellular, molecular, and biotechnology, and that's more so geared towards people who want to become scientists like myself. So that's what my bachelor's degree is in. I just completed my second semester of grad school and seeking a master's of science in molecular biotechnology. But I am currently in a thesis in the realm of biochemistry. So there's a lot of crossover. My research experience is biochemistry. My degree tends to be more biotechnology based, if that makes sense.
So starting off in the Army, you were a combat medic. So I'm guessing this is somewhat related to that. It seems like you would transition you had to obviously have a basic understanding of anatomy and physiology as a medic.
Yes.
Is that what led to your desire to pursue this particular interest in science and biology, or did you already have that and the Army was just kind of a path for you to get there?
Yeah, it's one of the latter. Army was just more of a path for me, honestly. Most of the males in my family served in the military, and I planned to at some point. It just ended up happening right after my son was born, conveniently enough. So one of the things that I've always wanted to be, ever since I was a little boy, was a scientist. I used to watch Bill Nye the Science Guy, and I was always,
Me too.
It's wonderful. Like, it's a great show, and I really do miss it. But I was always afraid that my math skills weren't that strong. And I thought that I was bad at math. It turns out I'm not. I'm not bad at math at all, actually. I'm actually pretty good. It's just that fear of calculus, which is the highest math that you actually need to do this stuff, even though you're not going to need calculus. I, one day, was doing a company event where we had to climb a mountain. And after I got to the top of that mountain, after several hours, I realized I just literally climbed a mountain. Like, how many people get to say that? if I can climb a mountain,
I didn't realize you were speaking literally for a second. I thought when you said climb a mountain, you were talking in some figurative sense.
No, that's the fun part. Most people say, "Oh yeah, I've climbed this mountain." I literally had to climb a mountain in order to realize that I should not be afraid of this college course. So that's sort of what propelled me into saying, you know what, I had my fun being, playing soldier. I know in my heart of hearts that I can be an educator, I can be a scientist, and I'm going to go do that. So after that event, I just resigned myself to becoming a scientist, and so here I am.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to what the reception of that was from your battle buddies, from your platoon mates, from your
a lot of laugh. Like people, I was a lowly E4, didn't really have much motivation at that point. Mm-hmm. I've been on permanent profile for a while, so I just sort of been, poo-pooed away. A lot of people didn't believe me, and to this day, a lot of them probably still don't, except the ones that have me on Facebook that actually see me in a lab. And you know what? And that's fine. Having people's doubts and having people's ire drawn towards me only galvanizes me. So I love it.
Well, at the end of the day, you're going to have the last laugh, because you're going to be the scientist in a lab, and we don't know where they're going to end up being. They could be successful too. But thank you for your service, by the way. I hadn't said that yet, but being an Army medic, being an Army anything, is worthy of gratitude. But being a medic in particular is noteworthy. I do want to talk about your religious background and or lack thereof. So one of the things that made me notice you in the first place is, and you kind of alluded to it already, is that you are a Black atheist. And whenever I am, I had heard of the atheist experience before, but I didn't start watching it regularly, probably until the episode that I saw you on there. And then I'd since gone back to see others. But the thing that made me kind of key in to that show was the episode where you were on a guest, because I noticed that there's a Black atheist. Where did he come from? How did this happen? How does he exist? Because in my experience, it's kind of a rare thing. And I actually did a previous show all about that topic. So how did you come to be where you are now, and where did you start?
Oh, this is a funny story. So I've always sort of been skeptical about religion, about a lot of things. And so this just sort of ingrained within me. And it may extend from just a distrust of people in general, maybe a little misanthropy, who knows. But when I was growing up, we were very heavily Protestant, mostly going to like Methodist churches. My aunt was big into Pentecostal churches, kind of a Kojic sort of sphere. My mother, not too much. And what really stuck out to me growing up was that my mother was always skeptical of other Christians. I would watch family members, extended family members, sort of kowtow to one another's ridiculous beliefs. My mother never did that. My mother would always emphasize using your own mind, thinking for yourself, even though there's a mob of people who believe X, Y, and Z. And so that to me really stuck out amongst the rest of the ranks. And I kept that. That stayed within me because it only amplified my skepticism.
Was she religious?
Yes, and she still is very, very religious. Okay. She doesn't believe in a literal hell. She's kind of one of these very, I guess socially liberal Christians, but she is a avid, very strong, Jesus Christ believer, just not Bible thumper, religious.
Similar to my mom then.
Yeah, probably very, very similar. She's kind of like laissez-faire, kind of, especially when it comes to social issues, such as LGBTQ folks.
Right.
She abhors Christians who go out of their way to harass and harangue LGBTQs because it doesn't make sense to her, to harass people like that. But anyway, I did not fully embrace being a non-believer until after high school, after Hurricane Katrina. I went up, finished high school with my cousin in North Carolina. After that, immediately moved back down to Mississippi, where my family was staying, and started going to college. During that time, playing a lot of World of Warcraft and watching the Atheist Experience and watching Amazing Atheists and a lot of Christopher Hitchslap videos, because the people that I was around in Mississippi, and this is in Natchez, Mississippi, just nothing but Bible thumpers. I had never in my life been around so many religious people that all they could talk about was religion. That's literally it. Not sports, not the weather, not, you know, economics. That's it. The only thing, any of them. And I'm talking about at school, I'm talking about the supermarket, at work, everybody. And I just got sick of it. And so I sought some sort of outlet to sort of involve myself with people who want to talk about different things. And there was a guy who posted, and he had said something to the effect of, you know, you're probably a Christian because your parents told you to do it. You probably never even cracked open a Bible or nothing like that. And so, you know, somebody even said something to you. And I just remember just getting just hot. Like, I was just mad. And it's like, hey, who is this guy? I was mad because he was right.
I was going to say, were you mad because he was speaking about you?
He was right. Yeah, he was absolutely right. And there was a big kind of gold trim Bible that my mother got from my grandfather. Her father died. And I went to go grab it out the living room. And it's the second I started opening, I'm just like, you know what, this guy's right. Like, this is why am I even doing this? Like, this is dumb. And I said, you know what, rather than me being upset because this guy's right, let me just wipe the slate clean. I remember thinking that phrase, wipe the slate clean. If I'm going to believe in a deity, I want it to be on my own volition, not because my parents thought it was a good vehicle to instill morality and all that shit. And that's where it really dawned on me that within Christianity, at least, there is a fail-safe mechanism to scare you into submission. And the next week after I said, you know what, I'm going to wipe the slate clean, I feared for my life, driving to work, driving to school, driving back home, that this deity was going to kill me because I dared question it. And it was terrifying. I remember having just terrible dreams thinking that this entity was going to do something to me. And I finally sat and realized, what am I scared of? If I don't believe in it, why am I afraid that it's going to do something? So how can nothing do something to me? And that's when my angry atheist phase started, because it's like, wow, I went through something traumatic, incredibly traumatic, that only people who have deconverted have gone through. And it is something that I can't talk to my family about because they're religious. They would just say, come back to religion, you don't have that fear. And to me, they're brainwashed, right? And so I started sort of believing that they intentionally brainwashed me. They intentionally inflicted that pain on me because they're deluded, they're stupid. And when I say angry atheist, I'm talking every trope watching. Of course, I watched Zeitgeist, and believed every word of it. All the tropes that you could imagine from the early 2000s, I went through personally. And that's where I started finding the Magic Sandwich Show and other associated programs during that time, because I needed an outlet and I needed to find a community of folks to sort of help me work through these feelings, help me understand, what it meant to actually be a skeptic and not just wear the title and all that.